Darren Mohammed is a senior manager at Microsoft, responsible for the corporate and the government business across 33 countries, mainly within the Caribbean. Darren is also the country representative for Microsoft in Trinidad and Tobago. As more governments turn to technology to better engage and empower citizens, optimize operations, and transform service to the population, Darren continues to build partnerships throughout the region with businesses who are agents for that said transformation. Darren has a background in computer engineering and has been working in the ICT industry for over 25 years. In that time, he gained 6 years of entrepreneurial experience, having built a successful technology startup prior to joining Microsoft. He uses that wealth of experience to assist in the development of an ecosystem of Microsoft partners across this complex geography, with the goal of that ecosystem contributing to the regional GDP. Students, I introduce you today to Mr. Darren Mohammed, Senior Manager at Microsoft. Hi, Darren.
Hello. Good afternoon, students. I am not used to having such nice introductions, so thank you, Kathy Ann. I am also, that computer engineering degree came from University of the West Indies, so I am an alma mater. So happy to be with you today and to share some. Just have a conversation really about what's going on with the economy, and also to share what Microsoft is doing to help students as they face this sort of new normal that we're facing. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to talk about a lot of resources that Microsoft has to complement your studies. So right now, no matter what profession that you're in, there is a technology component of that basically got dialed up in the last few months, as you would have noticed. The fact that we're doing these calls, virtually is just one simple example of how things are going digital. And it doesn't matter what you started studying, just so that you know. Even if it is that you were in an industry that was severely impacted, let's say you were studying for something in the airline or tourism industry, things are changing there too. And it's not that those industries have died. It's just that they are sleeping and converting and transforming into something different. So, for instance, in tourism, as you would see that there's a new proliferation of digital virtual tours that that have started in Italy, and it is simply a tour guide taking you around, using cameras and walking you through the streets and taking you on a tour of these places. And so we see that level of transformation happening. Now there is economic impact. I'm not going to deny that. There's a link here on this slide that I would love for you to record, because everything that I'm going to talk about here today is on that page. So all of the resources I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to myself, take you through, that website to kind of kickstart you on where to look. And so this is like a great supplemental resource that you can use to complement your studies at UE. So let's get started here. So I'll start with Microsoft's mission. It's very simple. So we when you think about empowerment, it is really, we see technology as an enabler for people, for humans, so our goal is really to take that technology and make sure that everybody is empowered to do more than they're doing right now today. So, without the technology. So we want everyone to achieve more of their potential than they have before. So, to do that, empowerment also means ensuring everybody has the skills to do that, right? And the knowledge and also equal opportunity, and that means everyone of every race, and even people with disabilities, people from rural communities. Everybody must have an opportunity to succeed, especially in this digital economy that's being created by COVID-19. So when you think about Microsoft, we are actually one of the inventors of a lot of that innovation that was pre-COVID, and now being used, in during COVID, and then will be used further going post-COVID. So there's a quote from our president, where he says, when your technology is changing the world, then you have a responsibility to address the world that you helped create. And we are, at Microsoft, are really committed to accepting that responsibility. So, what he means by this is, let's think about the proliferation of things like smart speakers. So, smart speakers use artificial intelligence, and we also create artificial intelligence for businesses. With that responsibility, of course, it comes things like artificial intelligence ethics, and making sure that we are transparent about the data that we use to create artificial intelligence. So all of that, we have to be a responsible company, where technology is concerned, especially technology that we create. So COVID-19 really has increased the need for this type of work. Everything's gone remote, as a simple example. When you look at not just these types of meetings, online meetings in general have replaced in-person meetings. So I meet all my customers now from my home. I wake up every morning, get on to online meetings. Sometimes I do 10 meetings for a day, because with online meetings there's no commute needed, to get between meetings. And with that, of course, comes some work-life balance things that I didn't consider in the past, that I have to consider now, using this technology. Now, that increase, is dramatic. So as soon as in Trinidad we had lockdown in April, I distinctly remember my phone going off the hook with all of my customers, and you could think of all the big companies in Trinidad and Tobago are customers of ours, reaching out for various reasons. We were all sort of caught, not off guard, but a lot of them had some of the technologies, but maybe they had not implemented all of the features for remote work. And so we were working really, hard around the clock, and that change was really dramatic. I mean, I'm talking about as soon as the lockdowns were announced, um, we were working nonstop, for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, making sure that all the customers could enable remote work, that their employees could function, had the right technology, had cybersecurity, had everything in place for the business to continue, which was, of course, the priority. So when you think about that rapid change, it is global. There is a global economic crisis that has been triggered by that virus. There are tens of millions of people globally out of work. Um, on top of that, before COVID, there was this push, globally for automation, and that's where technologies like artificial intelligence were coming in, and automation was sort of forcing certain jobs out of the organization, yet still creating other jobs, right? New jobs like data science. So that has actually been accelerated. So that speed of automation has been accelerated because of the virus. we have to admit that some jobs are not going to come back. Where industries have been, sort of turned in a different direction or moved into a different direction, that direction is permanent. So when you think of online meetings as a simple example of interacting with customers virtually, um, we see that people started to actually prefer that interaction more than the physical one. So instead of leaving your house and having to go interact with a bank or interact with any sort of service organization, you would rather do it online. And the people who weren't doing that before and were forced to do it because of the lockdowns now will say, oh, this is great, I'm going to continue doing this. And therefore, what about all those customer service reps? Or they're going to have to, of course, there may not be a need for as many of them. So some of these job changes are going to be permanent. So those jobs will start to look different. They're going to think of things like digital marketing as probably a more of a higher priority than in-person customer service. Just to give a simple example. So the jobs that do come back after the pandemic are going to look very different. They're going to look more digital. And so we are going to be, and you are going to be graduating into a more digital economy than before. And yes, the COVID-19 is the accelerator, but this was a path that was set a long time ago. So when you think about your profession, and this goes back to the 43% of you who said no to the technology question, we have to think, well, is that entirely true? Because maybe the profession, you might not see it as a technology job, but something like marketing, I'll give you an example, could now be digital marketing, and that makes it a technology type job. And so, if you think about how you look at that profession now, adding digital skills to existing professions is a way of course, making that transformation into those, new types of jobs that will come back. So it really creates now a skilling challenge, right? So skilling is I don't even know if that's it's a term we use in Microsoft. I don't know if it's a UK English term, but anyway, skilling is the verb, of course, of gaining skills. So skilling up, so this is creating a challenge for the people who did not have technology related jobs before, are going to have to gain new skills. And this is where you could think of UE as providing you up with, for those who are not in technology related coursework, is providing you your profession. And then what I'm going to present to you as additional resources to gain the tech skills is going to help you do the digital transformation of that profession. So let me quickly move on. So what we're going to do, I don't know how many of you know, but Microsoft is actually acquired two companies, LinkedIn, which is think of, the social networking for the corporate world is LinkedIn. For those of you who are not already on it, should be your first step, following graduation. Create a LinkedIn profile. Jobs are posted there. That's how you network with people locally. There are thousands of Trinidad and Tobago professionals on the LinkedIn network. And then also for the developers, and this is for the technology audience, we had acquired GitHub, which is where, for you developers, you would have, used GitHub for your versioning and code control. And, so here we go. I'll just make sure that
After my father died, I had to take care of my family. Not being able to pay bills, it was very heartbroken.
When I was laid off from my previous position, that was a really low point for me. I actually had to go ask my mom for money to buy my son diapers.
I got a couple of callbacks, did a couple of interviews, but I didn't get any job. Made me feel like, okay, maybe I wasn't doing something right.
اللي خلاني اتجهت لمجال التكنولوجيا من مجموعة من أصحابي إن هم بدأ يتكلموا معايا عن التكنولوجيا وإن هي بتستخدم في مجالات كتيرة وإن هي ممكن إن هي توفر لك الدخل المناسب اللي أنت محتاجه.
Antes tenía mucho susto de montar mi página web porque no tenía conocimiento. Por eso llegué a Microempresas de Colombia y por eso hice el curso como poeta.
Learning all the tech was definitely difficult for me, but I had a really good support system to get through it.
The classmates helped me to not give up, to go forward.
Al estar rodeada de emprendedoras fue algo muy bonito porque éramos muchas mujeres ahí en Microempresas de Colombia, todas luchando por un mismo sueño.
I've been studying for the Microsoft SQL course. It's something that I can add on to my list of skill sets.
Bueno, creo que es muy importante seguir estudiando y seguir aprendiendo herramientas tecnológicas porque ese es el futuro.
I felt like having those tech skills, I am better prepared to go into any field or any job that I decide to.
Y me permite como trabajar en cualquier momento y en cualquier lugar, lo cual es muy bueno.
I'm helping my mother. I can now pay bills.
في مجالات كتيرة اتفتحت عندنا في البلد باستخدام التكنولوجيا من خلال الشباب.
To me, it's exciting to learn every day new things, new technologies, and I'm like a newborn.
Whatever the future brings, I'm equipped for it and I'm ready.
So, so as you can see, this economic crisis that we're facing because of the virus really is something that we need to address. Is something that we need to do. It's a massive undertaking, of course, because now, with all of this transformation that's happening, things like the studies that you started a few years ago might look different if we had to rewrite them today, than when you started, pre-COVID, right? And some of the courses that you would have probably been guided to take might have looked different. Had we known that COVID would have come before your graduation, right? Before you face the working world. So with this mass, it's not, of course, it's an unfortunate, timing, and it's a massive undertaking, but it is something that we can do, right? To make sure that we still, help job seekers find those new jobs in the post-pandemic economy. Now we can't do this alone. We need to support nonprofits. We need to support the universities. We need to support. We need private sector involved. Everybody has to play a part. Everybody has to get together and help as we face this crisis all together. So let me get into the resources that I wanted to present. So we are providing free access to learning content for in-demand roles. So, and then how do we know which ones are the in-demand roles? We're using data. So we have one of the great things about having LinkedIn and owning LinkedIn by Microsoft is that once, with all of the job seekers using LinkedIn and with all of the employers who have vacancies posting their vacancies, a lot of them post their vacancies on LinkedIn. And they even use LinkedIn as a platform for allowing people to apply for those vacancies. That data that we are collecting globally tells us a lot, because now we can determine what skills are in demand, what jobs are in demand, what are companies looking for, who are they looking for, what type of roles. And then it can guide us on what skills that we need to complement UE with, right? What tech skills or what new world skills that we need to complement your university studies with. We've also started to discount our exam certifications. So where Microsoft technologies are concerned, and some of the LinkedIn learning type certifications are concerned for soft skills. So skills like customer care, emotional intelligence, those are all skills, soft skills. You can get certifications for those on LinkedIn Learning as well. So we've discounted the exams for some of those certifications and made the access to a lot of the learning content, at least the top 10 in demand skills. We've made access to the courses, for free. Now they'll only be free until March 2021. So please, go back to that link that I posted earlier on. Have a look at what courses are available to complement your university studies, and please take advantage before we take down the content, right? Because it's only guaranteed until March 2021. And when you think about, the data that we've collected on LinkedIn, yes, it covers the jobs that are open now, but also it shows historical data. So we have data of the types of jobs and skills that companies were looking for, and the growth of each skill over time. So we could have, created that trajectory of all this digital transformation, what we would see. We also would be able to know, what sort of, salary ranges, or what could have been obtained, what type of jobs for those who aren't as privileged as you are, to attend a university, what sort of jobs they could be eligible for. And then, could people be successfully reskilled using online, platforms, like these? So I spoke about skills that we are seeing in the post-pandemic, you know, and we're talking about skills, and these are the skills that we have seen, um, that would be required, right, or are top sort of jobs. Um, so customer service is very key in the even when things have gone digital, and you could attest to that, right? If you go and on a website right now and you're interacting with a company, you would always see this chat come up, right? So that chat could, we could be artificial intelligence for the first few questions, but then could escalate a person. And so the learning the skills of customer care, no matter what profession you are studying, of course, are going to be key skills, going forward. As the economy shrinks and the amount of money that's available to be made is, in terms of sales is there, it's a buyer's market, and customers, customer service is going to be key. And if you look at like something like new car sales in Trinidad right now are down. If you are in the market for a new car, you could be picky. You could go to, all of the companies, and, they should give you really, rock star service, just to get that business from you. And so that's a simple example. The other one is data analyst. You have to take advantage of data in more so now in your company, because, you have to be able to predict things, and automate things, and only data could help you do that. And also you have to know where to target and where you're going to get your sales from. And that's really, using historical data, but also data, of the modern, so, post, even pandemic data, where outbreaks are, all those things could come into play in terms of analyzing where your next market might be, what next country should be your new market, those types of things. Marketing has gone to digital, and digital marketing is totally different from marketing. As you know, it requires knowledge of social media. It requires, how to use influencers, how to use, the all of the platforms, how to use video, versus, doing things in the old ways of newspaper ads and, things that we would have marketing that we would have grown up with. Email marketing is also getting outdated as well. So understanding that digital marketing component, financial analyst is one that was always always in demand. Good financial analysts who are also data analysts who could crunch the financial numbers using machine learning and AI to do things like forecasting and predictions. Is of course going to be more and more technology dependent. The creatives also are going to win in the post-pandemic economy. So you would be surprised that graphic designers here, but when you think of one thing that technology or artificial intelligence cannot touch is creative industries. So great graphic designers are going to be required as well for all of this digital content that needs to be produced. So the digital marketing people are going to have to create really content that pops, content of videos that are that have really good graphics, effects, those types of things. So that's why that job is in demand. And then all of the IT ones, are self-explanatory, because if you're going to be switching to technology, you're going to need better support, IT support, better IT admins, better software developers, better IT project managers, and then sales. And this is another one that's going to transform, is going to move from the typical sales you would have known, which is the door-to-door type sales, and more into digital sales. So how do you schedule online meetings with customers? How do you take the best advantage? How do we not flood customers with webinars and get them to attend? Because your competitors are also flooding them with a whole bunch of content as well. So a good sales representative for the digital world is also needed. So all of these, of course, we are seeing as in demand. So our customers in all of our industries, and I'm talking about all the big groups, the Answer McCalls, Massey's, they're all making this transformation. They're all trying to get out of the and into this new sort of digital economy and play there as well. So you would see things like Answer McCall launching bringthings.com, and you would see a lot of Massey promotions have gone into the digital marketing world. So you have to think of, well, who's doing all that for them? So, and those are jobs being created, while of course on the other hand jobs are being lost. Now the jobs that are being lost, our data shows that the jobs that are being lost are more in the ones that require cognitive skills, so in-person physical type skills, the ones that have the higher need for cognitive skills, less cognitive but higher need for intelligence skills, and like what you're pursuing is definitely the ones that were impacted less, right? I would say. So with that, I'm going to pause before I go on and see if and invite you to the Q&A, and then if Katyan, if you could tell me if there are any questions right now, I would be happy to pause and take some questions right now before I continue. But the majority of the content that I wanted to share and the messaging that I wanted to share has already been shared, right? Everything else is going to be gravy or icing. So if you could please post questions, and I would be happy to answer them.
Yes, we actually have a couple questions here, Darren, that I'm going to go ahead and ask.
Sure.
The first question we have was, what skills or programs can you recommend one should have to be fluid with digitalization transformation for the workplace? So I think you sort of answered that in this last, where you spoke about pursuing. It's actually on the screen, guys. So he went in depth into that.
Yeah, and Well, if you're thinking, so this is the ones on the screen are definitely um, sort of roles or jobs that were created, in this new digital economy. But any job, right? When you go out into the workplace, and you need to be productive, a sort of base underlying technology that you would need to all know, and this is regardless, is going to be um, the technology behind remote work. So
Right.
online meetings. So you're going to have those skills of creating content, so yes, I shared my screen, I showed you embedded video, I shared all the sound. So that's just some of the basic skills. But then you get into more advanced skills, like, if in any role, like if you're an insurance agent and you had to invite people to your online meetings, how to be more efficient with them, how to be more pointed with the content that you're going to deliver, that sort of thing, and then use some of the tools that are built into each of those technologies just to be productive. So that's some a little add-on there of basic skills that you would require in any job. So if you show up in an interview, you're going to have to be able to say, yes, I know digital productivity quite well, and I can use all of the major tools that are available.
Great. That's excellent advice, guys. I hope you all are listening and I'm taking notes, because I sure am. Next question. Are there any internships or positions at Microsoft?
Yeah, good question. We do have a program called the Aspire program,
Yes, yes.
and yeah, and we do take on aspires, right? And we've evolved the program actually to so we call an aspire, and really it is an early in career person, so a recent graduate. So you have to complete your studies. So don't think of an internship as year two, or
Right.
complete your studies, and as you graduate, that's when we bring you on to take on real world skills. Now, in the past, we would have had internships that were just internships, and then when the internship is done, we turn you back over into the market, to be hired, right, by not Microsoft or any company. What we're doing is we've evolved the program now to have a full-time role waiting for you once you've completed your internship successfully.
Excellent.
And but with that, I mean, there aren't many internships, so we tend to be a little picky. But we do have them, and please feel free to browse the careers.microsoft.com, and submit your resumes there, and make sure that you're always browsing for jobs in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Sure.
So it's all digital now, guys, and through the World of Work program as well. The Aspire program usually requests resumes from us, so you want to be involved in everything. And most important, as Darren is saying, be proactive. Go out there and browse the Microsoft website, look for those opportunities. And of course, if you are open to traveling, they may have some other opportunities globally. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thanks so much, Darren. Next question. Do you think tech companies like Microsoft still rely on having a degree versus if you don't have a tech related degree but have gained tech skills and can show those skills?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So it depends on the job, right? So there are technical jobs where technical certification is going to help. But when you think of something like software development, we do
Exactly.
require a degree. We do
Yes.
require, and even with data science, we require a PhD in mathematics. So yes, the learning that happens in university, you have to consider it as foundation,
Yes.
and the digital skills are for transformation of that profession that you are now skilling up in. Right. Having said that, of course you're going to see that there are people who pursue outside, and that's okay too. But I don't want to discourage anyone from doing that, because if you look at a lot of the careers, that we have posted on our site, we still ask you for a bachelor's. We still ask for, a master's in business administration. Those types of things. We still ask for those things.
Yes. Excellent advice. And students, I don't know how many of you have been with us since we started our Transformation Tuesdays and Future Fridays, but all of the presenters have said that degree is like your foot in. It's the opportunity to begin developing. And after you have that degree, or simultaneously while you're doing your degree, you want to go ahead and get those additional skills. Yes, so excellent advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other one is a similar question about internships. Another question, I'm doing a degree in marketing. Would it be recommended to have skills in graphic design?
Yes, I would recommend that. Based on my experience and working with marketing specialists in the industry, you know, the field of digital marketing is evolving fast, and you're seeing that. I mean, if
Indeed.
even when you started university, YouTube might have been your platform of choice to start getting content out, but now you're seeing TikTok, or you're seeing other platforms. Now if you look at the content that's being presented to you on the screen by professional organizations, you could always see a design element in there. You could always see that. And anyone who starts to cross and mix and match these skills, or these are going to obviously be more marketable. Because here, not only do you understand the principles of digital marketing, things like getting out and audiences and audience targeting, and all of those things in the new world. You also understand what sort of content pops, how things look and how things should look, and what type of content people prefer. Do they like dark content or light colored content? All of these things are all going to be things that you could blend between the two jobs. And you could find, for instance, that a data analyst and a financial analyst can blend, right? That a sales rep and a customer service rep could also blend. And so blending and gaining skills outside your core profession is always going to be recommended and make you more marketable.
Yes, excellent. Again, students, those transferable skills, and not just having the transferable skills, but knowing how and when to use them across areas and disciplines. Yes.
Now we have a free course on digital marketing. That was one of the courses that we have made free up until March 2021. So again, go back to that link. Follow to the learning paths. In fact, I'll do a little quick demo of the website, and I'll show you how to get it, the learning paths. And digital marketing specialist is there, and you will get a certificate at the end of that, again, to complement your bachelor's or that you're working on, or master's that you're working on.
Okay, guys, you'll have to beat me to that one. I'm going after that. That digital marketing is a great skill to have at this point. Another student, just as the marketing students, what about psychology? So guys, the same thing will apply unless Darren has any specific information he wants to direct towards psychology graduates.
Yeah, I mean, psychology. So there's a lot of work for psychology. One sort of it's a negative effect of all of this digital transformation is that people are burning out. The ease at which you can jump in and out of meetings, and it is creating some. And also, for those who have kids, and you are yourself being a child of parents who are working, you would notice that your parents might, if you're still with your parents, that your parents are their office is in the same home as your learning, right? Your lectures. But then also gym is in your home, and some of you, your garden is in your home, you know, your all of those things. And it is creating a lot of psychological sort of need, right, to have
Yes.
better health, better mental health. So we're seeing our customers, and we ourselves have invested heavily in creating mental health programs
Right.
for our people, because we were monitoring the data and we knew people were burning out because they were working later, they were doing more meetings, they were doing not only more meetings, they were also connecting through other devices after they finished work. So they were also working through phones and other devices, and it started creating some mental health issues. So yes, the post-pandemic also creates some jobs, right, for mental health professionals.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So you're seeing how everything here is beginning to be relevant, right? You just have to be able to use the tools that you have. And of course, as Darren is saying, just gain some extra skills in the technology area and you'll be well set to move on. Another question we have. Oh, someone says, can you elaborate a little more on the LinkedIn learning and the ability to earn the certificate? She said she thinks she missed a bit of it. We had
No
a little
problem.
outage here.
Yeah, so let me stop sharing, and then I will open up the LinkedIn portal.
Right.
Maybe what I can do is post the link there that I posted earlier in the chat, so that everyone would have it. Let me see if I can maybe post this in the chat. So, right, so there, if you go there, and I will go there now. And then share my screen. So you don't have to go there now. You could just continue looking on the screen for this meeting. Let me know when you see it again. Kathy, just let me know that it's on.
Yes, it's on. I'm seeing it.
Okay, great. So scroll down to this portion of the screen where you see here learning paths. So click here and you will see that it jumps you over to LinkedIn, right? And in this, you can learn skills for in-demand jobs, search and apply for jobs, and here prepare for interviews. So click start learning. And here you can see the roles that I talked about, right? So let's go to the digital marketer. Click start learning. And here it's going to take you into the course. And you say start. And that's it. You're in the course. Once you're logged in, if you don't have an account, just create. It's free. And then you just click by doing each course. So you'll do online marketing foundations. Just pay attention to the videos. You look here, there's Google Analytics, how to do Google Ads, search engine optimization, content marketing foundations. So you see how valuable this is. There's Facebook, Instagram, and we're offering this for free. And see the answer to the question right here. A digital marketing person has to do introduction to graphic design. And then you earn your certificate at the end.
Wow. Excellent stuff, guys. Y'all are seeing that. Take one of those weeks, extra weeks you'll have in January and make good use of it before you come back out or just after exams when you go down to relax. Please take advantage of these opportunities. Guys, it's only there until March 2021. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, Darren, next question. if someone is already in the technology field, maybe IT or computer science, it didn't say, they're already doing a technology related degree, what are some good additional skills that you would recommend for that student?
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about software engineering, and I'm going to talk about separately computer science, right? So
Yes, sure.
both of them, of course, are in demand right now. However, the key to this is to grab the technologies that are in demand.
Right.
So cloud technologies are in high demand. The cloud business for Microsoft has been growing leaps and bounds. Within the first few years, we were growing almost 100% in every single year. Um, Microsoft Azure, Azure, is adopted by the majority of companies in the Caribbean. And you could think of Microsoft Azure as whatever a customer could have done in a physical data center in their organization, they could do in Microsoft's data center through technologies like virtualization. And the same goes for software development. So the software engineers. The software engineers are building mobile apps, are building web apps, are working on complex application modernization. So where a company like a local company in Trinidad and Tobago would have had an application in-house doing something, now when they're trying to do the transformation and make it available, let's say for remote work. So if you think about an application that was running in-house, and because everybody showed up to work physically and they were using this application from their PC in their job, they were able to function. But then as soon as the lockdowns hit, that application needs to be available from your home. And so when you think about that, they created a need for application modernization. And Azure, Microsoft Azure, also provides platforms for application modernization, platforms for mobile apps. And I'm talking about mobile apps for Android, Apple, using all of the modern mobile apps technology, open source technologies. All of them are available on that Microsoft Azure. So we've seen massive, massive growth. So what I would say is that after you've completed your technology degree, which is agnostic, right? Most technology degrees are agnostic. They don't focus on any proprietary technology at all. In fact, they encourage you to do open source technologies, and that's all well, that's fine. What you then need to do is to close it out, is to go for the proprietary technology type certification. So the Microsoft certifications, to make sure that when you show up at a customer of ours, which are, I'm telling you, all of the customers that you know that are large companies in Trinidad and Tobago are using our technology. And you show up there, they're going to say, hey, do you have Microsoft Azure experience? Because that's what they use. And so there you would have to have that additional proprietary certification. So I would say when you get out, look for what's what's out there and being used by the companies locally, and then start to hone your skills for and gear yourself up for those jobs. Great. Let's see if there's any more questions.
Yes, we have a couple more. I'm glad you spoke about Azure because in my little world, I was saying Asia all these years. So
Yeah.
thanks for that
Okay.
clarification. Um, okay, so again, another question which would, I'll read it, but again, it's about specific degrees. And I think you have covered that already in terms of looking at what complements the degree. So this person is in sociology and a double minor in psychology and international relations.
Yes. So a lot of And you will notice here that there is, in one of these, let me show you here. You see this, so you see, once you scroll down below the roles, you see this one here, Master Critical Soft Skills. And this is where your sociology type roles or jobs or vacancies would start to be created, because all companies now are requiring soft skills. So if you explore the courses that are here, you would see things like emotional intelligence and how to build resilience. And these are probably more in line with the studies that you are talking about. And so you could see that these are all in-demand skills as well. So again, there are going to be, openings that are connected to people with soft skills. And that's how I could see you evolving, as well as, of course, the HR type functions and the, those types of skills as well. We've had a lot of people who did social sciences in UE, end up in sales and business development, and that, because they were able to have things like emotional intelligence and interact with customers on a very human level, have those soft skills that customers like. And so, sales isn't what you would, would have, a lot of people think sales is. Sales is not like the insurance kind of sales. It's not like the long ago vacuum sales where somebody sticks their foot in your door and throws dust on your carpet and sells you a vacuum cleaner. It's not like that. Sales requires partnership with your customer, being an advisor to your customer. So it still requires the knowledge of the customer's industry. So if you want to sell something to a drinks manufacturer, you have to know manufacturing and you have to know what their business is about. But once you do that, and you interact with them, you have to have those soft skills to build that partnership where you become the advisor, they consult you. And that's how you are able to do sales. And that's the type of professional sales where soft skills are required.
Yes. Wow. Excellent advice, guys. Excellent advice. I think that's about it. I think you answered. There's a question about digital marketing being free to anyone or just to students. And I think that's available globally. Yes, Darren?
Yes, globally. Up until March 2021.
Until March 2021. So guys,
I have a slide here with the timeline. So let me just share that with you.
Of course. Guys, just think about it as a semester and see how much you can get in there in those 3 to 5 months.
So here. Okay, so June 2020 was when we announced these things available. The discounted exams that we were offering for the things like Microsoft Azure certifications that you will do, those are on a different website called Microsoft Learn, which is also on that page that could take you to the Microsoft Learn site for those who are in technology, and then everybody else uses LinkedIn Learning, right? If you have an exam that requires a technical certification, most likely you'd have to pay something, but we've discounted those exams tremendously. If you register for your exam before December 31st, you'll get that discounted rate. But everything must be taken and completed by March 31st. I don't know if we'll extend this. It really depends on how the pandemic plays out and what impact that we've had on the 25 million people that we are expecting to take advantage of these benefits that we are providing.
Yes, excellent, guys. So your agility and your ability to pivot quickly will come in here. March 2021, put it on your calendars. We have another question, Darren.
Sure.
Oh, that's a great. What is it like working at Microsoft with respect to the atmosphere? Is it like mostly team projects, or individual. Are there any team building activities within the company?
Yes. So we do have team building. Microsoft has a matrix organization. So what you might be familiar with are hierarchical organizations. So you have a team, and then you report to a manager, and then that manager reports to a director, that director, you know, and you go up in a hierarchy. Microsoft has a different type of organization. We have a matrix organization, which means that we focus on job roles and functions. So you have a function, you have a role, and in order for you to do, and you are just one part of a massive number of functions that that are needed to serve our customers. So when you think about how we interact with people all over the globe. I had a call this morning with people from the United States. I had customers who were in the UK, Singapore, who were domiciled in Bermuda and Cayman. And so we are like sort of teamwork on steroids in Microsoft. We are very good at using digital tools to connect to anyone that we need to serve a customer, to get in front of a customer and make sure that the right professional is in front of the customer at the right time, dependent on what the customer needs. And that goes in for all the engineering folks as well in Microsoft. They are producing the next features of our cloud technologies based on feedback from the field. So we also interact with them. So it's a really a teamwork based organization. Do we do team building? Yes. So we've gone virtual with our team building. Microsoft being an American company, of course, we had Halloween. So all the employees actually put on costumes and came on a call just for 30 minutes, but not to talk about any business, but just to have fun. And we saw each other's kids, dressed up in costumes. It requires a different, in this post-pandemic world, it requires a different sort of interaction. One time we did a team builder where we had a guy, a mixologist, and Microsoft shipped us a basket of ingredients, including,
Wow.
yeah, and we had to follow this mixologist on an online call just right in front of our desk to make a cocktail. And that was so much fun because at the end we all got to drink the cocktail and laugh,
Yes.
and so we do a lot of those things. So we very much a fun place to work. It's a hyper performance environment, so we work really hard, but it's also we take that to the level of how we play too. So we play really hard too.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But great questions. I love the questions.
Yeah, great questions. Someone just wants some clarification. They're asking, is it that they must be registered for all the courses before December 20? Well, they said 2021, but I'm thinking 2020 since it ends in 2021.
Yes. So yeah, in any online learning platform, we need to identify who you are, because how do we accredit you for the progress or the completion, right? So you do have to do like a registration, but it's just like a Facebook sign up, what you would have done for Instagram or any of the platforms. So you see on my screen here, when you go to sign in, you use any Microsoft account. I believe the campus for student email uses Microsoft 365.
Yes.
So you could use that Microsoft 365 account here, or any of your personal account. Even if you have a Gmail or something, you could sign up for a Microsoft account, sign in here, and then you go to the products or specific roles, and then you could do the courses. So you see data scientists here, data engineers here, and it will sort of give you a learning path and how to get certified. So you would see an explore certifications here, and here you can get certified in Azure fundamentals, and then go on to get an Azure data scientist associate's certification to complement your data science studies from UE.
Okay, great. And so is it that the student wanted to know as well, is it that they must register before December 31st,
Yes.
2020? Okay, great.
Yes. So please sign up now. I mean, spend some time this weekend browsing the link that I sent, and taking advantage of all of what I'm talking about. I mean, Microsoft is giving back tremendously. These
Yes,
things,
this is great, guys.
yeah, I mean, this is knowledge that's being made available for free, but not only is it knowledge, it's also, things like discounted certificates globally. So imagine the amount of money that we are spending, to put this out there, to make sure that no one is left behind, in this, transformation that we're seeing in the economy.
Indeed. And guys, share the word, spread the word. Is there a time frame in which the various programs must be completed?
Yes. So that was March. You have to get your certifications or complete the course by March 2021. Now, when you sign up for a particular course, like if I start here and I go to the Azure Fundamentals course, of course, you could take your time. It's online learning, so you could do, one module today, one module
Okay,
next
great.
week,
So it's self-guided.
Yes, but just finish before
Right.
March,
March.
before we close off the timeline.
Right. And we'll definitely be putting this up on our website, Darren, so that students and staff as well could learn more about it and take advantage.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, imagine having a data scientist, a Microsoft data scientist associate certification to complement your degree. Of course, when you walk into the interview, and if the company is using Azure or any Microsoft technologies, which I'm telling you they all do, you're gonna be much better positioned.
Yeah. Yes. Good info, guys. I'm actually gonna send you all an invoice for this session. I think we need this is really
No,
good.
not at all. We are about empowerment at Microsoft. No invoices.
For us, Darren, for us.
Oh.
Next, another question coming in here. How does the company help novices in a certain field grow or expand from when they first joined?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. So we had some key learnings around people early in career. So what we did is that we tailored the Aspire program to not put you in the job until you completed the early in career piece, because I'll tell you what happens with interns. And this is really it's not that companies are being malicious, when I'm about to say here, but when an intern comes in, most companies, of course, that salary has to start paying back for itself, and they rush it. So they rush you to start contributing to the company's profit line from day one or day two or week three. And that causes a lot of pain for a new person early in career.
Right.
Now, while Microsoft has probably, like I would say maybe a deeper pocket. We could afford to do it right, which is we put our aspires into a 6-month program where we don't bother you about the functioning of the job that you're going to go into, but we really focus on all of the skills that you need to gain. Now, of course, we choose the people who already have most of the skills, but of course, we still have to train for you to be functional in the job. And when you get into the job, that's when you could start hitting the profit line, because you after the 6 months. And so I would recommend, most employers to do the same if you could afford it. And I understand that as things are tight and profits are lower, you saw Republic Bank announcing 40% less profit in just yesterday in the newspaper, and there's a lot of that going around. I could see where a new hire or somebody with these new types of skills, like a digital marketing specialist, Republic Bank would need them. So it's a new job. So the job is there, but when you get on, I could see them needing you like to be functional from day one. And so I really hope that you find some way of gaining the skills as much as you can before you get there, and then to the employer, I'm hoping that they give you some time to learn the organization, learn the industry, to learn the functions before pressuring the person, to contribute to the profit line.
Excellent. And speaking about getting that job, someone wants to know, besides the extra certification, what helps a candidate stand out on their resume and in the interview for Microsoft?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Being a manager myself, I have a team of people, so I've hired all of them. And so I'll talk for myself, and probably most of the managers that I spoke to, these things apply. The first thing about, let's start with the resume. Resumes have gone digital, so that's the first thing you have to know. So don't think of a CV as a Word template, as you would have in the past. We absolutely accept a LinkedIn job application, which is all digital. So there's no, document. So create a fantastic LinkedIn profile is my first piece of advice. In case the job that you're applying for is going to be posted on LinkedIn, and you will use LinkedIn to apply. Now, to create a great LinkedIn profile, please, think of your brand, think of how you want to come across, of course, to the interviewer. So don't take a selfie, which is really informal, unless you were trying to portray that that you're a specific scenario that you were in, and that you want to portray. So don't do things like post things in informal backgrounds, or so really have a good picture, a good profile picture. Not that it matters, it just how professional it is. Doesn't matter how you look, it's just how professional it is. And then talk not about your certifications, but talk about you. Talk about what you want, and be intentional about it, not generic. So don't go cut and paste things from other LinkedIn profiles. So some buzzwords we look for is like I will be a great contributor, or I plan to work hard, or everybody says those things. We really want to know about you. What's your brand? So if you say that you want to if you're very passionate, let's say, about the environment, say that. Say, want to have an impact on not just in my job, but in the world, as an avid environmentalist, things like that. So we get a good idea of what thing. And then, of course, you would have all your education. So some key tips there is to go digital. Now, we do accept, of course, the Word templates. Pictures aren't necessary, because we also are a company that believes in diversity and inclusion, and sometimes pictures can turn up unconscious biases that interviewers have. So it's okay not to have a picture. So just let me make that clear.
Good
so on the
advice.
LinkedIn
Good
profile,
advice.
you could just not have a picture, and we'd still absolutely look for the words, though, or look for the character in the words, right? So on that resume also, again, you do the same. So yes, put all of your experiences, any sort of job experiences that you would have, and this is a tip here, always take precedence over your degree attainment, right? So if you put your degree as your last thing that you do, we start assessing the resume from that onwards. If you have anything above that in terms of work experience, that's what we focus on. So if you do get your first job, tighten up that job experience to talk about what you learned, and it gives the interviewer an idea of, well, what sort of skills you gained in that last job, and then so maybe there are shorter gaps in terms of the job that you're applying for, that that sort of thing. Now, if you get the interview, most likely right now the interview is going to be online. So think about things like, what background are you going to use? Be on time, click on that link and be on time in your interview. And then don't be too casual, even though your surroundings are your home. Don't, make sure people don't interrupt you. And, even though that might happen, it's okay if it's unplanned. But if you're being too casual about the interview because you're in your home, keep that in mind, that, that the other person on the other end is giving you time. And, you really should open up and talk. The other thing, and this is a one that I found is really challenging, is that as students became more digital, and I'm talking about those of you, and you know who you are, who are buried in your phones doing the infinite scroll, be careful that you lost interpersonal skills. And I've had a couple of those types of personalities come in, and you could tell that they've interacted people over the text but not in person. So the answers were shorter, just like text, right? Quick answer, move on. So I never got to know who you were. Yes, you answered my question, but I never got to understand more, like more of the character, the details, The other thing was that a lot of the the people that I've interviewed recently couldn't talk just in a conversation. They were super nervous, maybe because they're accustomed to digital, right? But even you turn your camera on, so make sure you always turn your camera on, because it helps warm up the atmosphere a little bit for the interviewer. But I don't know, keep focused on gaining those interpersonal skills, because they still are required. They're required in the organization. Those soft skills are required in interacting with your teammates. So imagine if you couldn't interact with the interviewer, they're going to be thinking not, hey, yeah, okay, this person's an introvert. And, introverts do have of course, equal place in every organization. But beyond that, they're thinking, okay, even when I use the introverted techniques in the interview to meet you where you're at, you still didn't share. So, you have to keep that in mind. You have to keep that going. I could go on and on with this topic. I'm probably going on too long right now.
Nope. Excellent information. Let me see if that's one last question. Oh, no, kids are, the students are just, as they would say, bigging you up. They're just commenting on this session, and I would like to reiterate, Darren, excellent session. I mean, the information that the students get, and I always try to make some notes, not just to share with the students, but just the wealth of information, so that we too can use it in the careers and placement department to just pass this on, And, you touched on some things, telling the students, and it's so true, everyone is speaking about going back to normal, but it's for them to understand, as you said, you're going to be going back to a different type of work environment, and globally, it's going to be a different economy, and it's about how they can change, how they can transition, how they can think, project into the future, as you said, that very, very important screen where you all actually did the analytics, to see these areas that are growing. And then you went on as well to create some of the certifications in these areas. And that's how our students, we want our students to be thinking through in this period, to really be future and thinking into the future, projecting and seeing where it's going. And something I want to, you know, of course, data, guys, we know data rules the world now, you know, so we look at that data-driven decision. But something I want to zone in on as well, for those students that are studying mathematics, Darren made a very important point in terms of the financial and the data analysts. And for us to understand that at that level, they are looking for the doctoral degrees. So I know for some of us, you're thinking, okay, I'm doing maths, I'm going to stop at the bachelor's and maybe go and teach, open my own private lessons. But here he's giving you the info, as you all like to say, he's giving you the tea. That for Microsoft with the data analytics, just keep moving, you know, keep going up, keep upskilling. And when you get to that point of the PhD level, you're looking at a possibility of going into Microsoft, and to know as well that the environment for IT and data is only going to grow. It's only going to grow. So maybe in the past, where a company would hire one person, because of the transitions that we have gone through, it may be 2 or 3. So just some really excellent career advice here for the math students, and also finance and the actuarial science students, those number crunchers. Yes, a lot of opportunity he has put out there.
Yes, absolutely. For the
Yeah.
math students, you know, make sure you pick up those statistics courses, because that is the key in data science, right?
Yes.
Of course, in the actuarial sciences, you would already have them. But yeah, if you could pick those up, remember that a data scientist is going to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to do predictions. And I'll give you a simple example. Maybe about 4 years ago, I would do our forecast of business performance for the region. Right now, a data scientist does our forecast for business performance using artificial intelligence. So we feed in all of the data, things like COVID, GDP changes, you know, all of that data goes into one big, let's say, repository of modeling. And of course, all of the statistics the trends are done using statistics. So it's huge amounts of math. And of course, we use the machine learning to aid the process and crunch vast amount of data. But I would tell you that the result is that we have an accurate forecast, uninfluenced by human emotion. So for instance, you know, if I felt that things were really horrible because of COVID, I would have probably lowered the forecast, but then the models would have predicted that technology would have had an uptick.
Exactly.
And of course, you know, to put a better forecast in. So again, this demand that was created for data science is across the board, every industry. I talked to all of the Trinidad and Tobago companies, and they are taking their customer data, their sales data, their invoicing, their warehouse data, their inventory, and they are able to tell you, you know, using that data and modeled right, they could predict how much inventory they would need.
Wow.
You know, what sells, you know, how to cross-sell other products, you know, it's so important. That's why these jobs are being created as we speak.
Yes. Right. So please take advantage. Remember also that we offer co-curricular programs in the Microsoft suite as well. So remember to check in for the entire suite. Those co-curricular programs, well, of course, the registration would have been closed for this semester, but next semester as well. Go on to the LinkedIn Learning, check those courses out. For those of you, as Darren is saying, those statistics courses, please, you could take up an elective from humanities and education. There are statistics courses, social sciences. Take up one of those statistics courses. Or right now we have these, they call it the MOOC, is it, Darren? Where you
massive online, open online courses.
Courses where you can go, and some of them, just as with Microsoft, some of them you do them and it's for free. You pay for a certificate, and some of them you get a certificate. So as Darren is saying, you have to be proactive. You have to be proactive. You have to begin thinking about that transformation if you haven't begun to think about that already. And these companies are giving back. Just as we have given to them, the companies are giving back. Microsoft is giving you that opportunity for a number of courses until March 2021. And you know what, students? If beyond March 2021, you have to pay a small sum for a course that's gonna help you become more competitive out there, I think we can do that. Yeah, I think we can do that. So thank you so much, Darren. Guys, remember, please, I saw some of you saying you just came across the marketing email. Please don't come across it again. Go looking for it. We are sending it. We have sessions on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and they are all just as excellent as today's sessions. So please do that. Also, we want you to complete the session evaluation. You know, Darren wants that data. He wants to know what the session was, what you liked about it, and the next time we have him, what do you want him to speak about? So please remember, click the link in the chat box and complete the assessment. Darren, any closing words?
Yes, I want to make sure that I close with hope, because I know you're looking out there and you're looking at the headlines and you're seeing that there is a huge economic fallout. But I want you to also look at the positives. So the first thing that I would highlight is that pre-pandemic, Trinidad and Tobago, of all of the islands in the Caribbean, had the best debt to GDP ratio. Now, compared to the United States, of course, or some other country, it's not going to be, that level. But if you compare to our neighbors who have tourism-based economies, we were better positioned, and we are fortunate, all of you on this call, you're fortunate that Trinidad and Tobago had the room to borrow our way out of, or to get through it, right? To get through this tough time. So that's one positive. The second positive is that University of the West Indies has been producing skilled labor for the region for years. And when you look at the jobs that are being created, a lot of them, let's say in the energy industry, are in Guyana. And Guyana did not have the skills, right? And they are giving some of that business over to us. You saw yesterday in the news that Rams Logistics won a massive contract, right? You looked at the amount of millions there, and that's gonna, some of it, of course, must go to the Guyana people, but some of that is gonna go to skilled labor that's from Trinidad and Tobago. And you have to really be grateful that we built that skill set. We built that labor force. All these years of working in the oil and gas industry, we have so much expertise to share with our good neighbors in the energy industry. And finally, when you look at throughout the region, the companies that are well positioned to survive, a lot of them are here. So, and they're doing their transformation, and they have we have the financial institutions, we have all of that can take us through. So we will get through this, and there will be an economy at the end.
Yes.
So be hopeful, prepare for all of what the new economy is going to look like. It's going to look very digital, so that's where we're going to come in and help. But be hopeful that there are jobs waiting. You just have to know how to go out, get them, how to skill up, and take advantage of it. So with that, I'm gonna close.
Great advice, great advice. So thank you so much, Darren. This was an excellent session. It was an excellent session.
Great. I'm glad they found it useful.
Yeah, so many little nuggets. I'm sure I'll be reaching out to you again sometime to do something else, but we are going to post this up on our Marketing and Communications YouTube, as well as the students' My e-learning platform, so that those students who are currently in class can always go back and look at it, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much. Thank you, students, for coming out.